overconfidence, he falls into his own traps. In numerous stories, Anansi turns into a spider just as he faces great danger. His name conjures up two West African proverbs. Woe to him who would put his trust in Anansi, a sly, selfish, and greedy fellow. And the wisdom of the spider is greater than that of all the world put together. Kathy Hughes, a short, assertive, light-skinned black woman, once counted herself among Barry's supporters. Hughes, the owner of 8 radio stations in the Washington region, has a keen interest in promoting the cause of African Americans. But she locked the door on Barry's return, dismissing him merely as a master Pole. Even if he can't help, she said, he'll create the smoke and mirrors to make it seem like he is. There's something about him that people connect to. He's a Louis Farrakhan type figure, she continued, referring to the Nation of Islam leader. It's not what they've done for the people, it's their ability to channel the people's frustration, or at least create the illusion they have diverted the public's attention. The cultural narrative Barry tells is bifurcated, a parallel plot of African Americans as both victims and victors. The narrative is one of the primary ways in which a culture patterns our lives, says Roger Bettesworth, professor of religion at Simpson College. Through narrative, cultural communities communicate, perpetuate, and develop knowledge about and attitudes toward life. The cultural narrative establishes the world in which an ordinary story makes sense. The history, scriptures, and literary narratives of culture, the stories told of and in a family and clan, and the stories of popular cultures. All articulate and clarify the world of the cultural narrative in which they are set. Thus, a cultural narrative is not directly told. The culture itself seems to be telling the cultural narrative. The African American cultural narrative, as told through Marion Barry, depicts blacks bending to the white whip across their backs, suffering, pushing the proverbial rock up the hill like Sisyphus, only to have it slide over them just as they near the summit. This narrative laments the African Americans' ostensibly insurmountable obstacles to achieving a starring role in the master American narrative, the journey to wealth and influence. Simultaneously, through rhetoric and behavior, it advocates an undying belief in African Americans' ability to overcome, master, and control their destinies, to win or, at the very least, snatch a piece of the American dream. It is the old slave narrative writ large, the one of Frederick Douglass, of the abolitionist David Walker, and of Sojourner Truth. The scene and script of this narrative are as confusing as that in the movie Chinatown, where Faye Dunaway tries to explain to Jack Nicholson that the young blonde with her is both her sister and her daughter, the product of an incestuous relationship with her father. Blacks, for their part, do not see the narrative's contradictions. They simply accept their schizophrenia as normal. They are outsiders playing the part of consummate insiders, constantly negotiating deliberately constructed hurdles, camouflaging their true nature and feelings, and outsmarting mainstream white America. Barry personifies this Anansi duality, and for this he is exalted. Marion has tricked the system in many ways, and black people, in cultural terms, have a proclivity to have glee about people who do that, explains University of Maryland political scientist Ronald Walters. Because of our situation, we've always elevated black people who could do that, whether he was the hustler, the preacher, or whoever. We also elevate people who were defiant of the system. We've respected those people who can stand up to the system, and Marion has told almost everybody in this town where to get off. But all laurels are not woven into his wreath. Some blacks are leery of Barry, Having found their way inside corporate...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.